Thanks for checking out a new episode of Bad Advice with Chris Cubis, the show where unqualified people give unsolicited advice. This week I'm joined by comedians Daniel Rugg, Webb, and Danny Palumbo. This is a super fun episode. We talk potential serial killers, wedding underwear requests, bad food, everything you can think of. Give it a listen. Thanks for checking out a new episode of Bad Advice with Chris Cubis, the show where unqualified people give unsolicited advice. We are back. Last week's episode was wild. Those McEwens bring an interesting perspective to things. Thank you for putting up with them. We appreciate it. It is 100,000 degrees here in Texas. They are telling us we have to turn our AC down because the power grid is going to collapse, because it couldn't handle the cold, and of course it was not prepared for Texas to get hot, I guess. We're back. Let's go ahead and get started. Bring our guests on. We've got two hilarious people this week. Up first, from Los Angeles, longtime Austin comic, from Pittsburgh, I think. Danny Palumbo's here. Danny, what's going on, brother?
Good to be here. I'm excited to do this, and I do feel unqualified.
Yeah, so, that's the only qualification, is to not know what you're talking about.
You can't have your shit together at all.
Works out well. Pittsburgh, right? You're from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I'm from a little bit north of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
But it's like a suburb. It's like a half hour away.
Sure.
And it was always just easier for me to say, yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, of course. You say the biggest city you're closest to, as opposed to because people know Pittsburgh, and then maybe they've heard of a hate crime that happened in your small village or whatever.
Right. That's our contribution to the canon in this country.
Well, I feel like Pittsburgh's contribution is also half a hate crime, and that is French fries on a sandwich.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, preaching to the choir here. French fries on a sandwich is bad. Nobody should ever do it. French fries on a salad, however, which is another thing that Pittsburgh does, I would argue is fancy and French, and it actually tastes good.
What? Hold on. Is that like a decision to be like, look, we're gonna have salads, but we're not gonna be queer about it? That feels like a very Pittsburgh douchebag move.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's this incessant need to put French fries on everything. Mm-hmm. And so, most on a sandwich, I think it's a miss. On a salad, I don't know. It makes sense.
Are they hot? Are they hot when they hit the salad?
They are, but listen, this is the thing is sometimes salads can be a little warm and they're fine. There's a French salad called a lyonnaise, and it's warmed with bacon fat. It's really fucking good.
That does sound
Pittsburgh.
Good.
Pittsburgh is fat France, man.
That's
what I've always said.
That I believe that's their tourism slogan. Logo. I combined slogan and logo there. It's logo. Also with us this week, checking in from beautiful Malibu. Oh, it's so pretty. He just turned his camera. Returning favorite Daniel Rugg Webb is here. What's going on, brother?
Hello, happy to be here. I hate to be a bitch right off the bat, but you're both wrong. French fries don't belong on a sandwich or a salad. They belong in a chocolate milkshake.
Oh, okay. So we're coming in with the hot takes, the cold takes. You're like a Wendy's. If you're frying a Frosties person?
It is only Wendy's chocolate frosty French fry combo. Otherwise, you're just Chick-fil-Aing the house
down. I grew up in a small town that didn't get a Wendy's until I was well into adulthood. So I didn't. I think you have to put a French fry in a Frosty when you're 15. That's you know what I'm saying? That's a decision a teenager makes because you're.
It's reckless. You got to do acid when you're young, and you got to put your French fries in you. I will say this: if Pittsburgh is fat France, then Montreal is fake France. But that is where I had brown gravy on pizza, and I gotta tell you, it was real good.
That is bizarre.
It's so good. Our mutual friend Steph Tolov was the one who told me to do it.
Yeah. So are you putting? Is it in place of the sauce, or is it just on top of the pizza? So you get a marinade, you get tomato sauce, cheese, and then also brown gravy.
Get your classic pepperoni, mushroom, bell pepper, onion slice of pizza, and then slap some Thanksgiving. Turn the Native Americans away from their own homeland, brown gravy on top of it.
I
colonialization brown gravy.
I saw a picture of it, Daniel, that you posted.
Uh-huh.
It was the most least photogenic food I have ever seen in my
It
life.
looks like a whale jizzed on the pizza.
That's an interesting take because I picture whale jizz when I hear any sort of it is the same color, just
It's
more.
the same. It's
I
not
picture
suddenly,
white jizz, just a lot
right.
of it. I don't
It's not
see
suddenly
brown.
gravy.
I was reading a science journal, and a whale cum is like it's the amount of, it's like a keg amount.
That makes sense. They're very big.
But I do think it's one of those where it's like a lot of anything can change. Like a lot of clear can kind of look gray.
You Googled whale jizz. Don't say you read a medical journal.
I was trying. Listen, my
doctor licking his thumb and turning the page. Excuse me, I need to see.
Excuse me. I was at Planned Parenthood, and they said, "Have you had any unprotected sex with men?" And I said, "I've swallowed about a whale's amount of jizz."
And then you had to go do the research and make sure that was an accurate description.
That's not a box you check on a medical form. They want numbers.
No. There are. It's like when you're going to. I've sold a fair amount of plasma in my life, so it's like, have you ever? I'm just saying.
We all have to make rent.
Those check boxes are like, have you been to Africa? They're all very problematic. Have you been to Africa? Have you had homosexual? Have you sex with a man since 1977?
Right.
Oh, various, but they don't often ask.
Yeah, my favorite is
question.
Trying to get the HIV test as a gay male when they ask you just the normal question. They're like, have you been to Africa? Have you had unprotected sex with? Are you a witch? Those are the three questions they ask. Which are actually the three questions they ask you if you're ever going to be a missionary too. Those are the same questions.
It's going to be the new questions they ask at the polls in Texas. That's how they're going to. The same ones for voting.
Aware?
If you don't show your gun when you vote, you're going to have to answer these questions.
That's your photo ID.
Danny, you have a little side hustle. I'm assuming we're allowed to talk about where you. Yeah. I don't know if that's like wild illegal. Maybe the food people are after you. You sell like homemade.
Yeah.
Crazy good looking homemade pastas and stuff.
Homemade pasta out of my apartment. I also write about food, and I bring this up because I just interviewed a dude today who's selling pizza out of his apartment, and it's blowing up. The Instagram is Secret Pizza LA, and one of the questions I asked him, I was like, "Are you worried at all?"
Yeah, it seemed like at some point.
And he said it's in the back of his head, but like he doesn't plan on doing this forever. Mm-hmm. And I feel the same way, where it's like if I get caught, it's like, all right, you got me. I don't know what they would do. They would probably try to get taxes, or you're not going to get a cease and desist from the health department, based off of some Venmo payments.
Yeah.
But if I can get caught, whatever.
I do like the idea that you're going to get busted. Like you see fucking Venmo payments where it's like a snowstorm and $200, and that's the fucking payment. I'm like, oh, that unbreakable code you just put there, and that's gonna be, it's you and terrible coke dealers.
What are people worried about when if you're making food in like your apartment? That's fucking brick and mortar. Everybody else is buying food out of a food truck, which is a trailer. Like for fuck's sake, people. Like nobody washes the floor in a trailer.
And also I think we all know that restaurants can be dirty and not sanitary.
No, that's where rats live. They they go to the trailers in the other place on vacation, but they live at the restaurant.
Absolutely, that's like when you see them out and about, they're gonna go home. They're going to work. When you see a rat somewhere in the world, they're going to work. They're gonna come
on his way
to Pizza Hut or wherever the fuck. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump into some of these letters. Daniel, you've done the show before. Danny, what is your familiarity level with Dear Abby?
I know what it signifies. I know
concept.
I know it as a concept.
Sure.
I met her once. She's a bitch.
That is it.
Anyone who makes a career out of telling other people what to do probably isn't the chillest person in the world.
My favorite.
No, go ahead.
My favorite is it's a Kathleen Madigan line about Dr. Laura, who just says, "Well, I know so much damn stuff. I should start taking calls."
Yeah. You know what? this is a little separate. I was at an open mic last night and I saw 5 comics in a row say my therapist. And I'm like, I think this is debunked therapy for me. If you're all here right now, it's not working. It's not.
Yeah, 100%. I know you degenerates. You do understand
right.
that, like, I know you
what is it doing if you're here?
I want you to name names though. Name names.
Not right now. I mean, you already know these people, but
sure.
you could guess Daniel. You could guess Daniel, and you would get half of them right, I bet.
They're white because unfortunately Black people have a unfortunate relationship with mental health care, but we'll take that on a different podcast when I don't have 2 white guests. Up next, let's go ahead and dig into our first letter. Well, let's get, which one do I want to do? We've got some fun ones. Oh, let's do this one. Dear Abby, I'm getting married and my fiance's daughters, 19 and 21, are in the wedding party. I have purchased the dresses they are wearing, which are light and flowing. I've told the girls that on the day of the wedding, I do not want them wearing thong underwear. The older one then went to her dad and said she didn't want to wear regular underwear. He told her she could wear whatever she wants. I've tried telling them that as young ladies, there are times you don't wear thongs, and under a flowing dress is one of them. It's one day of their lives. How do I get my point across? Signed, Wise Bride in Phoenix. Okay. Now, granted, these are we're a bunch of men, so maybe we're not supposed to comment on this. I think everybody in this scenario is weird. I think the woman who's like, don't wear a thong, very weird. I think the children who went to their dad and were like, I want to wear a thong, also very weird.
I have questions about the father because this is, you're like, mom won't let me wear a thong. You know who will? You gotta talk to dad.
Old soft touch over here.
Yeah. That's strange. But also, part of me was to side, and again, I'm not a woman and I wouldn't want anyone to tell me what to do. But, one day not wearing a thong, I don't know.
Look, you can get through one day without wearing a thong. Right? That's not the question.
Yeah.
I guess, it's not the day is what I mean to say. It's not the length of time that you have to deal with not wearing a thong. Because,
right.
Also, as someone who's never worn a thong, is it that, it's, in my head, it's uncomfortable. So, having a one-day reprieve from having underwear on my ass seems like a nice thing.
Have you ever been, and this is an intimate question, but
yeah.
I used to have long hair. You live with a long-haired woman.
Sure.
Have you ever been sitting around all day? You're like, I think I have a hair at my ass. And then you take a shower and all of a sudden, you've had like 3 long ass. Yeah, it's like that, only you feel sexier. I think, okay, I'm worried that the dad, first of all, the mom and dad in this are clearly divorced. They're not actually.
Well, I think that's fair because
they're divorced.
The woman is marrying somebody, a new person.
And does everybody think that the dad just automatically has a child bride of its own? Right?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, baby, wear a thong like your stepmom does. Like, she loves it.
Yeah. His new wife is the same age as his daughters, or close. She's like 25.
Here's the thing. What she's missing, if this is her big stupid day, thongs leave no panty line. Hello.
That's the whole point, right? I think that's the whole point.
You don't want your bridesmaids looking like they're fucking wearing loaded diapers in all your family photos and all that shit. A thong is going to make it look seamless. So I think the mom is a wet blanket, has no clue what is. I want problematic. The dad wants to fuck the daughters.
I'm getting big Trump energy from this dude.
Yeah, for yes. Tom Brady likes.
I just want to maybe narrow down a little things here. So as I read this, what I believe is that the woman is not the parent of the daughters, right? Because she says it's my fiance's daughters. So she is coming in as the stepmom. Yeah. I think the stepmom is not that young because I don't see a 20-year-old or like a whatever saying, oh, no thongs at my wedding or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think she's a little older and maybe a little more conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also don't think she understands, when she says light and flowing, I'm assuming those are long dresses, right? She says these dresses are light and flowing, right? So what is the scenario where these dresses are going to expose this thong? You know what I'm saying?
It wouldn't even matter.
Unless, is it just a swing dance wedding where they're going to be spun around? And
I think. I mean, it could be a funhouse wedding where they actually blast the air under you all on Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
I think here's the thing. People are control freaks. And as entertainers, we get to be on stage and we get to have our moment, right? Where we get to have a show. People's weddings, sometimes that's the only time in their life where they're like the director of a thing, which is why people are fucking nuts. And what I'm seeing is she's more of a control freak where it's not enough to control the dresses, but she wants to make sure there's like no bush.
It's very honest to me.
My sister took dance lessons when we were kids, and you couldn't film the actual recital. You had to film the dress rehearsal, right? Because they didn't want the parents clamoring to the front for all the cameras and all the shit, right?
That makes sense.
So but this is in the 80s. So we have this footage of my sister dancing in the rehearsal, but it's a rehearsal. So all this shit's going on. So the main dance instructor lady gets on the intercom in the middle of my sister's very cute little bullshit recital and goes, "Reminder, parents, no panties on the little girls tomorrow. No panties." And that line is what's in our video.
We need to talk about who said that line. Was that
into
a
a microphone? It's the dance instructor, the lady who owned the place.
She's a lady. I'll take lady at. Thank God it's not a dude. If a dude said that, you call the police immediately.
It's literally Miss Bonnie. I think her name is like Miss Bonnie's Dance Studio, and it's fucking Miss Bonnie is the one making the panty announcement. So
do we know why?
Panty line.
I guess they're wearing tights or whatever.
You don't want the diaper to poke through. It ruins the symmetry of the moment.
That is
an
uncomfortable thing to yell for.
Anyway, what I would say is I would go to this wedding because you're guaranteed to see some strange.
Oh, you think?
That's true.
Wow. So we went very different directions on this, Daniel. You think when she said no thongs, that means commando. That means nothing. I'm assuming she meant non-thong. You have to wear non-thong under.
Oh,
yeah.
No,
I think this woman is just being like, "Hey, no pussy's out, girls. It's my wedding day."
No, there's not a chance in hell, Daniel. No,
what are they supposed to wear?
Just like old lady bras or whatever. Just regular ass Fruit of the Looms.
Girls, I will not have you hiding your vaginas in front of our family and friends. If the wind blows, I want them to see the beauty that God created.
That is, man, we approached this letter very differently, Daniel. I'm pretty certain what she meant was no. I feel like that's very clear, because if she meant no one, she would say, "I told my daughters no underwear." And if that point, that changes the whole dynamic, because then them going to their dad and being like, "Hey, your weird ass fiance told us we gotta fucking free lip it at the wedding next tomorrow." That's a reasonable thing to approach your dad about.
Do you ever wear a jock just in like casual wear? Like,
no, I've never worn a jock strap in my life. I never did sports. So I never had to wear a jock strap, and it seems like a thing you don't just like rock for no reason.
I'll tell you this right now. This is going to be very personal. A friend of ours when we were teenagers in the 90s, he killed himself, right? He hanged himself, which my favorite joke is, he really left us hanging. But that son of a bitch, right? He boasted about going commando when we were teenagers. I was like, what the fuck? Who has that kind of bravado to be like, I'm naked? But he did. So when he died, I out of honor, to homage to the friend, I took on a lifetime of going commando. Yeah. But I'm also like, I have huge balls and a huge dick, so I can't just have shit swinging around down there. So after a few years of that, I took to a jock. I got to tell you, liberating, because you're almost naked. I lived the life of a thong. So I would be a star at this wedding.
Yeah, Daniel, come on. You guys live in the same apartment building. I want to
wait a second. Your friend killed himself.
Sure did.
To honor his memory, you went commando for 2 years.
No, for more than 2 years. Years.
And then realized your dick and balls were too big, so you had to get a jock strap.
Well, your balls kind of get bigger.
That's true. My question is that, so going commando is no underwear? Is that like you're going like Ranger? What do you call just rocking a jock strap at all times? Is it going?
I think it's just horny. No, I think I'm just straight up horny. What's the gayest rank? A Green Beret sounds pretty gay.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. Navy SEAL is pretty gay too. I think
just going Green Beret sounds pretty.
Well, Navy SEAL's relatively gay because like you get the gay naming things after animals, right?
Yeah.
Like isn't there like otters and bears and whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you get like the seal aspect.
Yeah, I'm Harry Tree Sloth in gay culture. You don't get to pick.
Hold on, is that a real thing?
You don't get to pick.
That's very funny. If we had advice for this woman, because she's the one that wrote the letter, Wise Bride in Phoenix, I would just tell her to, like, I guess, mind your goddamn business.
Yeah. And how will you know if they're wearing a thong?
You gotta check.
Don't wear a thong, and I'll know by how you carry yourself. There's no way to tell. So, like,
your center of gravity was off, and you ruined all the wedding photos.
Yeah. They reached for that garter and they pulled off some.
Like I don't know. You can't, like. I don't ever want. My mom gave me underwear for Christmas in my 20s, and I told her it was inappropriate. That's disgusting. Yeah. Like, I don't want anyone knowing about my crotch after a certain age.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm with you, Chris. I think lighten up a little bit is,
the best you can do, or like, double down, extra serious. Everybody that walks in that wedding, up with the dress, down with the pants. I'm checking draws on everybody. Sure. I need to know who's rocking what.
Well, you immediately know that the bachelor party fucking sucked.
Oh, yeah.
That's very true.
You had to wear a 3-piece suit or some shit.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump into our next letter. I like this one. Dear Abby, my college senior daughter, Lisa, insists on inviting her significant other to every holiday and to our home when she's on break. This is Lisa's first girl-girl romance, and she thinks she's in love. This girlfriend has zero personality and adds nothing to our family dynamic.
What?
None of us can stand her. How can I nicely explain to my daughter that although she feels one way, we feel another? She honestly thinks she's going to marry this girl and is very pushy when it comes to inviting her wherever we are. Also, this girlfriend is only going into her junior year. She has 2 more years of school left. Once Lisa graduates this year, she'll be 5 hours away from her girlfriend. She makes my daughter very weird and not in a good way. I'm praying this relationship will end after she graduates. It's horrible. If the girl isn't with her, Lisa calls her 10 times a day. Help! Mom knows better in New Jersey.
Wait, mom knows better?
Yeah, well, so this is the mom writing a letter about her college-age daughter who has a real fucking zero of a girlfriend.
Man, right? Is that what it's about? No personality?
No. We got to break it down.
So here's what I'm thinking. I literally don't think, I'm being real with you, I don't think this is homophobia vibes. That's not what I'm getting from here. I am getting that this girl just stinks. I think they have a real bummer of a fucking girlfriend on their hands.
I think you're right.
I'm gonna school the 2 straight people in this.
Okay, never mind.
Real fucking fast.
Right.
And now just breeze over the first few sentences and find the 3 different ways that she refers to her daughter's girlfriend. It's this girl. It's what are they? They're not nice.
Yeah, they're not nice.
What are the first 3 ways?
This girl, I'm running them down. This girlfriend has zero personality and adds nothing to the dynamic. That is so specific.
No. Go back to the front, the very first.
My girlfriend, my college senior daughter, insists on inviting her "quote unquote" a significant other.
1. What's the next way? She says the next way is I made partner.
Then she says this is Lisa's first girl romance, and she thinks she's
whoa. Stop right there.
Okay.
Let's examine that sentence. Say it again. This is her first
girl romance. Yeah, girls/girls.
Are we finger fucking each other on the playground, or is this an adult relationship with your girl bullshit? And she thinks she's in love, as if it is impossible for 2 girls to ever be in love, right?
Sure.
This woman is denying her daughter's homosexual reality by giving it this trial language of the experimental nature of it, and probably parenthetically framing it with the college experience because the bitch is just a junior and has so much more work to do.
All of that.
This is entirely homophobic, and not because of all the points that I just outlined, but because the bitch is from New Jersey.
That's where I got you. I was saying I was gonna come back and be like, I might be wrong because we are talking about Jersey, but I do have to say, and like, look, you clearly know better than me about how to decode veiled homophobia. Like, you've lived with that shit your life.
It's not Southern biblical, that kind. It's different.
Sure, it's a different kind. I get that.
It's Jersey based.
But man, I'm getting so like, and again, it just might be not reading it right. The adds nothing to our family dynamic is such a specific fucking complaint that it feels genuine to me.
it sounds very mob-like.
It does,
in a way.
Yeah, that's very Jersey.
You know what I'm
She's
saying?
really uncomfortable with
Yeah.
knocking people off.
She don't do nothing for the family.
Yeah,
You
this
know?
bitch doesn't earn for nothing. Yeah, absolutely.
Daniel, can I ask you a question though? Because
Yeah,
I
can't
agree
wait
with
for
everything that you said, but let's say they were straight. If somebody came to me when I was going to college and they were like, "Hey, buddy, I know you're calling this girl 10 times a day. It ain't gonna last. You're a fucking teenager." I would go, "Wow, are you from the future?" That's like amazing advice to give like a teenager. But I will say that because it's her mother, it's obviously rooted in something else. But
sure, there is a patronizing way that she speaks about like, oh, it's not gonna last. Like she knows better, which is a very infantilizing thing.
But you don't
is exactly that, because the language would not have said this is his first boy-girl relationship.
Yeah.
I think that they're in
that's
that
true.
was the
that's very
point.
True.
The family dynamic shit was 0.5. And first of all, what does that mean? I bet
Agree.
you her lesbian lover is fucking way more fun than these lazy sons of bitches who probably
for
sit
sure.
watching heterosexual television
I agree.
programming.
give me your first example.
Say it out loud. Hey, dear Abby, my daughter's a fucking pussy licker, and I don't like it.
Daniel, can you give me one example of like what the first thing that comes to your mind when I say heterosexual television programming?
I think of like any Law and Order. I think
okay.
Like
I would have went NCIS. It's a little more. Is
that ABC?
Yeah, I think it's CBS.
Or CBS.
Which is where I think all the pure straights are. I think if you're like, you can watch SVU and have like a little hitch in your giddy up.
Well, Mariska Hargitay is gay adjacent.
Yeah.
Her mother was an icon.
Sure, that's the most hetero show you can think of. Is like Law and Order
in these times. Well, I don't know.
I feel like I think it's
and you for sure don't mean the HBO Perry Mason. I know when you said it. Daniel Rugg Webb meant 1960s Perry Mason when he said that.
Holy shit!
Oh, that's very funny.
I like 1860s.
She makes my daughter very weird and not in a good way.
What does that mean?
Gay.
That does mean gay. I get you. But
it does mean gay.
You're very right. The more I read these things, I was like, man, I really came in. So we do a thing on this podcast since we are, people write into these letters to make themselves sound as good as possible. If they're presenting an argument or something, they're not going to say like, I'm an asshole. It's always great. But also just for the purposes of the podcast, we kind of have to take the letters at face value to some extent. We have to at least come in with that the open-mindedness that maybe they're telling the truth. So when I read this letter, it reads very much like my daughter, like because I read it like, oh, she said first girl romance. Maybe she's excited for more girl romances for her daughter, and this is just a shitty one because she's a child. Or and when she says this girlfriend has zero personality, I was like, oh man, that's a bummer. Your daughter is coming home with just a fucking square, and you have to pretend to like her. That stinks. But Daniel, everything you said, I think you're just 100% right. This is just Jersey homophobia.
But to also honor the perspective of the show, what if she's like some weird fucked up like New Country fan or like a Scientologist or like what if the New Jersey family parties, but she's like
when I read my she makes my daughter weird and not in a good way. If I'm coming from that perspective, maybe the mom's Christian. Like she's like art teacher weird, right? The mom is like kind of hippie and she's like, oh, I wish my daughter was weird, but she's just making her a fucking born again Christian.
What if she's MAGA? What if the fucking lesbian girlfriend is MAGA, which is a nightmare?
Yeah, like the worst level.
If my kids were gay and then Republican, I would be anti-gay.
The only time it's acceptable. If we're gonna go ahead.
I do kind of got it because I'm terrified of having shitty in-laws if I ever meet somebody I love.
Sure.
Equally, I would hate the person that my kid brought home.
Daniel, would you ever want kids? Would you ever?
Oh man!
Why don't you hold that thought? I'm gonna read a quick letter here, and then we'll come right back into it.
Great.
It ties in well.
Was that a proposition, Danny?
Dear Abby,
I'd be a dad with you.
I'm gonna read this letter real quick. You two would
work it out in the chat here, Danny. Let's take this to the chat.
A sitcom couple, like a modern sitcom. You're the the gay, you two together are the gay king of queens. You've got the fabulous one partner. You've got Pittsburgh ass other partner.
I'm Kevin James married to a hot girl.
Yeah, 100%. Danny,
hello.
Danny, come on. You knew when I said it.
I mean, you're right. It's hitting me, and I'm like, wow,
doesn't feel great. I get you, but
if we're here, hey, one of the perks is if we're a gay couple, we both get to be hot. Just one of us has to be bitchier.
That's true.
Oh, that's you for sure. Although I can be pretty bitchy.
I'm going to read this. Let's read this letter and then we'll get back to the question that started all this. Dear Abby, what are the 3 most important things parents should instill in their children in their formative years? Signed, Wondering in Arizona. That's the whole letter. So, Danny, you asked Daniel if you would ever want to have kids. Daniel, what do you think? Would you want?
The joke answer is I don't make enough money to afford the therapy my kids would need.
Sure.
But in real life, I want to be like a mansion owner and have all my bases like covered so that I can't just I can't personally fuck up my kids' situation.
Right.
Because it would.
Sure.
But I think I would do a number on somebody, and I just don't want to do that to another human. I would rather just set somebody up. But if I had Danny there, there'd at least be good food while I'm traumatizing people.
You want to be able to throw money at the problem.
No. I don't want that to be a problem so that I can give the full attention, not worry that, the house is getting taken away.
Okay.
Right. So you're financially secure, and now I can focus on
the family,
these kids. Danny, but I'm with you. I'm old enough to know focus on the family. Danny, would you ever want? You don't have kids, I'm assuming. I haven't seen.
I don't have
I'm
kids.
Continue. I'm assuming you still don't have kids.
Yeah.
Do you want kids someday?
That's the one thing I got done in the pandemic. I had 3 kids. I started a podcast and I had 3 beautiful children. I think I do.
Yeah.
But I think I'm probably going to be an old dad, and which I'm fine with. But I think I would like to. I think it's one of the few things that I might have a regret about if I didn't do it. Also, it would be a waste of all of this dad energy that I'm carrying around to not use it in some way. So I think that I do. I, like Daniel, own a mansion or whatever. I would like to be a little more financially secure, but
sure.
I think I would knock it out of the park on a lot of levels. I think I could get that kid. Can you imagine it would be the Jean Benet that actually made it.
So, well, for sure, your kid's gonna have the best prom ever, Daniel.
They'll be invited back.
Sorry.
They'll be invited to several.
Clearly, Danny, I am of the mindset that I'm pretty adamant about no kids for very similar reasons to Daniel. In that I don't know that I don't want to fuck up kids. I don't want to put fucked up people into the world.
Right.
I don't want to do that thing of where I feel like people do the thing of I don't want to bring a child into this terrible world. Don't blame the world. You're also terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
But also I do think it is I enjoy my life. I enjoy the freedoms that I have and the things that I do, and call it selfish or not, you can't do the things that I choose to do with my life and have a child. So I just flat out don't want to do that. That doesn't seem fun. I'm take the altruisticness of I would be a bad parent out of it. I just don't want to do that. That seems like a bummer.
Yeah, I get it.
I am a little lazy, but y'all, some kids murder their parents.
That's for sure.
Some kids murder their parents.
We're gonna get into one of those questions in a minute, but for sure that's true.
Great.
But I want to do it, but I think I don't know if it's legal for a single gay man to adopt a kid unless.
Adoption rules are wild, weird.
I can do that.
Have you ever been to Africa? Have you ever had protected sex with a man? There's those witch questions.
Are you a witch?
It really comes up again. What do we think are the 3? I'm gonna go. Danny, I'll ask you first. What do you think are the 3 most important things a parent should instill in their children in their formative years?
I don't know how to put it into one word, but it's definitely fucking respect people in the work and service industry. It's everything, most other things will fall into place.
100%.
So it's I don't know if that's, hey, what my parents did, which is you're 15, time to go start washing dishes.
Mhm.
At the
That was my
restaurant.
first job. I was 14.
Yeah,
I was a dish
for sure.
nanny.
Everyone needs to
parents are-
wash dishes. This is
Our
why
kids
we're
are
gonna
going to
get
be
married.
so good.
I wash dishes as a 32-year-old. I was old. I was
Mhm.
old when I had my dishwashing job.
Gotta
but it
say,
does-
I liked it. It's
wasn't terrible.
relaxing.
Yeah.
you would get you would respect people that work service industry. You would learn to hate assholes, which is important. Like the people that deserve shit,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you'll want to give it to. You know those people. You know the people that come in and they act like they're better than everyone else and they have a shitty attitude, and you grow a healthy disdain for that.
Absolutely.
So you get those two things, and I don't know. I just feel like it makes for a those
I
people
agree.
are better to talk to.
It instills empathy. It instills
Yes.
a work ethic. It instills yes, 100%. I agree 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Daniel,
that's a big one for me.
Daniel, what do you think? Give me the 3 most important things parents should instill in their children in their formative years.
I don't disagree with anything that the panel has suggested. I echo that.
Sure.
I unfortunately would be a parent that would put a kid in piano lessons at a super early age, even just for like a year or two.
Mhm.
Wow.
Then they can do whatever the fuck they want with it, but they just
Right.
you just need that kind of exposure.
Sure.
And then honestly, I would make those sons of bitches go out and like have to deal with homeless people. Like they need to feed them. They need to like give them some clothes, like just something. Like they need to be
Yeah.
around it and not look at someone like it's their fucking fault. And I just don't like that there's like it's weird that kids are scared of homeless people when they should be scared of the housed people.
Yeah, for the most
Right.
part, like you need to have. Well, I was about to say some wild shit. You need to have a place to bring a kid to molest them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there is a reason why you need to be afraid of the housed people. They are dangerous.
What and then the other thing I would do is I would wait till like a later age. So I don't know if this counts as formative, but like later formative.
Sure.
I would take them to a church just once, and it would be to like knock off the whole time, like sit in the back and like make like draw dicks in the Bibles and then never go back.
Wow.
One of mine, as I was sitting here, it's interesting you said that, would be to wait until they are able to form rational thoughts and then take them to a church. Because I do not understand how you like. I get why if you're indoctrinated into as a child, as like a baby who doesn't know how to think, your parents did it and they tell you what to do. Yeah, you're gonna just be religious because that's what you're raised with. But
Makes
like,
sense.
if you wait for a kid to be like 13 and then go, okay, guys, look, I didn't do anything this whole time, but we are gonna go to church today. They'll figure that shit out real quick,
real fast.
Yeah,
that's true.
The only way they got us to go, we went every Sunday for fucking years, but it was Methodist, so it was easy. But the only way they got us to go is we go to the mall every time afterwards to eat in the food court. So we had food court culture for years. But you know, it was a Happy Meal and a hot fudge sundae that brought me to God. That was my price.
It's
That was my
always
price.
a Happy Meal.
You said it was Methodist that was easy. What's easiest about Methodist? I've barely been in churches in my life, so I don't know.
All you have to do is show up and tuck your shirt in. You gotta be.
You're not gonna do research or nothing.
Yeah, the hardest thing is you just gotta stay white.
Well, that's good. That is tough. From speaking from this side, that's a tough one.
But yeah, it's easy. You just talk shit behind everybody's back, the way Jesus did.
Let's go ahead and jump into our next question. I'm gonna save the super weird one for later. Let's do this one. Dear Abby, I've been in a relationship with a married man for 2.5 years. I know it's wrong, but there's just something there between us. We live 5 hours apart, but he's a trucker, so I see him often. He makes me all these promises that if I uproot my life and move to his city, he would be able to be with me more. His wife is sick and he can't leave her that way. And he has never loved someone the way he loves me. We also have a 30-year age difference. I love him, but I see so many red flags. Does he really love me, or am I just the icing on his cake? Please give me some advice because I'm truly lost. I don't know if I'm wasting my life on a man who really can't promise me anything. Signed, On the Side in Indiana.
First of all, she should be a comedy writer.
Yeah, those premises,
hysterical.
it was like she did a perfect build to a great payoff. That
Yes.
we also have a 30-year
In which
age
direction?
difference.
Who's is she? Please tell me she's like
I
60.
mean, look, we can all dream that she's 60 and he's 30, but let's be real. She's 22 and he's
Right.
50 something,
Yes.
right? Like
Right.
that's what's happening here.
Should have led with
Charming.
that. The whole question could just be, there's a 30-year age difference. What do you think?
Yeah,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Love is hard to navigate. Have you ever fucked in a truck though?
No.
No,
Particularly,
you-
well, here's the thing: those trucks are basically apartments. If we're talking about like those like 18-wheelers, they have like big sleep chambers and stuff.
They do.
Daniel, you asked that question like have you ever fucked in a truck?
Well, okay. The equal question: do you like phantom lighting? Does it turn you on? No, I can get the romance. Listen, who doesn't love an out-of-town fuck? Because it's NSA. That is hornier than a commitment. And
so you're siding with the married man here.
No, I'm siding with the dipshit girl writing the dumb letter who's been duped by a man with false promises.
Right.
Well, here's the thing: if she was just in it because it's hornier, then good for her. That's just her like getting hers. But this is not that. She is in love with this woman. 2.5 years. That's like 12 years in trucker. That is a long-term relationship.
That's so funny. Let me ask you a good question.
Yeah.
Who is gonna end up murdering who? Someone gets murdered. Someone gets murdered, and then we all have to talk later about like, we just got the letter and we didn't know anybody.
I mean, it's the woman for sure, 100%. I'm
right?
playing the odds.
It's a murder-suicide. It's a murder-suicide, y'all.
The trucker dies.
He
Someone
dies
kills
after
the trucker.
he dies after he comes. That's the king.
Yeah, he dies because of like a trucker speed-induced heart attack. Like it's not murder.
But who is like is it? I don't mean to ageism anybody, but is he playing her because he's older, or is it that she's younger and stupid, or are they both playing each other because she's getting something out of it?
She wants something more.
That's what I'm reading. What she wants is she is upset because she's being made all these promises.
Men are the fucking worst.
Clearly, here's my concern, or one of the many.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the 30-year age difference, right? And that's
she's writing this letter from the back of the truck.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's writing this letter with her nose typing on a keyboard because she is tied up. But
he loved me.
But yes, 30-year age gap, wild, right? Not okay. Unless you're 80 and 50, which is even a little weird. That's even a little weird, but like
for the 50-year-old,
you're both wildly adults. Do you? I don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
But like, what is this? How terrible is this girl's life that a 50-year-old trucker is an improvement to her situation?
Yeah. Okay.
Like people
a married 50-year-old trucker. Forgot about the part that he's married.
Yeah. But people have open relationships and people have all kinds. But that doesn't. She's not.
We're not
outlining
getting that vibe,
it
right?
She's outlining it like it's an adulterous situation.
I mean, and also anytime he says my wife is sick and I can't leave her, that is it. The wife doesn't know what's happening. It's also maybe a lie. He's maybe telling her that to excuse the fact that he's not leaving his wife.
And I hate to be inaccurate about this, but I do. It is a lyric, and it's not mine. But it's if your bitch is on my shit, then you better check your bitch. And so, from the writer's perspective, it's not her fault, right? She's just there to get while the getting's good. But 100%. It's the false promises. I love a horny hookup. Hotels, airplanes. It's the come and go of it all, right? That's hot. Sure. That's sexy. Don't touch. Like, why even bother with the name? But that's what you don't believe it. You know what I mean? You don't believe
it's the fantasy, right? You don't exactly. Also, she's in Indiana, so I feel like this is all real sad.
She needs to go to Chicago, girl. It's right there.
Yeah, it's super close. I agree.
She's young.
Lots of horny guys.
Small town.
Well, this is a daddy issue. This is a daddy issue too. He's older, and she wants him to commit to her. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Danny, have you ever been the other person?
But just yes, a few times. But,
okay.
Not in like any sort of relationship. It was like a one hookup deal, and then later I would find out something. That's happened. That's happened a few times. Specifically, like somebody.
You mean there's women duping men out there like that?
Yeah.
I don't know if Danny was duped.
Well, I don't know.
Danny, tell me if I'm wrong.
Can I tell you why I never felt that bad about it?
Sure.
Yes.
Is because
he was a cop, and you can do anything.
he was a cop, and he fucking had it coming.
Yeah.
Do some good in the world today, and fuck a cop's wife. Why don't you?
Wait, was he really a cop? Was he really?
No.
I just.
I would have loved that.
Yeah.
No, it's because I could tell that person really wanted a way out, and if it wasn't me, it was going to be somebody else.
Sure.
And it's like, or maybe that's just a way to excuse my behavior.
Also,
Was that your pep talk in the bathroom right before?
Yeah.
If we're gonna give this lady good advice, it is get the fuck out of there. Don't just leave this old man. But the name of the show is Bad Advice. I say stow away. You can hide in the back of that truck.
Stow away.
Show up wherever the fuck he lives. Bring that drama to his doorstep.
No, I say fuck him till the sick wife dies and then leave him.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's the long con.
Because guess what? Guess what? If she's 22, she's about to get super hot in the next 7 years, and he's gonna what? Die.
So she could come into that big trucker inheritance. She could take that.
Hey, listen, Anna Nicole died broke. Everybody needs to remember that. That bitch died penniless.
That's a bummer.
In Hollywood, Florida. That's like the saddest end of anything. Like your death certificate says Hollywood, Florida on it. God bless you.
Wow.
I got two more here, maybe. Let's see what we're doing time wise, and then we'll wrap this up. Let's try this one on for size. Dear Abby, I have a friend who insists on bringing food whenever I invite her over for an event, birthday party, Thanksgiving, etc. It doesn't matter what she cooks, Abby. It's always awful. Everyone tries whatever it is she made, then spits it out. I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I don't want her bringing anything ever again that isn't store-bought. How can I tell her? Tactfully, signed, Repulsed in Virginia.
Couple things here. One, there's nothing more dramatic than somebody spitting out food. When you see Gordon Ramsay, when Gordon Ramsay spits out food, I'm like, you bitch, it wasn't that bad.
No. It's not glass. Just fucking get it down.
Right. And this comes from somebody who has had jobs where you just tell somebody you can't fucking cook. Nothing feels better. Don't worry about this person's feelings.
Been saying that.
Yeah. Like for sure, just be like, you need to like watch some YouTube videos or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you can learn how to cook on the internet.
It's very easy.
I think you got to be firm. There's no, you don't have to be nice about it.
Who's the guy? He's the Austin restaurateur. He lives there. He got in trouble for slapping his lady around a few years ago. We were at his place. He had like a $95 ribeye or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was with some food people. I don't know that. I'm not a food person. I was just there. And they brought over, here's the fucking, like complimentary, try the steak. One of the food people spit it out.
Wow.
It was funny. And then their partner went, people know who you are. It's not the Franklins. I worked for the Franklins. It's not them.
Yeah.
If I was this person's real friend and I didn't want to hurt their feelings, I would say I like have a late life food allergy. And so you can't bring food to me. I have like tree nuts. Tree nuts. But my parents, like best friend of all time, and I don't feel bad about outing them because they are MAGA shitheads who thought that you only got COVID from ventilators. Like, so I'm like over entertaining fuckheads like that.
Ventilators the problem.
But
you get COVID from the place you go once you get COVID. That's how it works.
To be honest, my age-old problem with these people is that we share holidays, and so we share food, and their food always tastes the way their house smells. And that's not to say their house smells like food. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have also outlined the correlation, which is conservative politics and shitty food.
Well, here's the problem, though. I wish that was true. You some down south, Paul. Yeah, it's all butter and cheese, and Here's the thing:
That's-
conservative politics and food that is bad for you, for sure. But
For
some of that
sure.
shit slaps. Some of that shit, like N-word, is extra
That's funny.
seasoning or something.
Yeah.
But some of that shit goes hard.
Yeah.
I think that the problem is I am just there to eat the food. I have brought food to things, party people where they're vegan only or there's like rules about it. And
Yeah.
mine's been the untouched dish for a very good reason. I can't fucking
Yeah.
cook. And I
Right.
think coarse sea salt, it can be the dish. So I am the least eaten one in the food category. That doesn't hurt my feelings at all. I have no shame. But I also don't push it on people. You're a psychopath if you're insisting that people eat your food.
100%.
It's weird.
No,
I
don't
just
do that. People, if you're at a buffet situation, a potluck, people take what they want, and then you go home and feel bad, and then the next time, bring drinks. It's fucking not hard, man.
flavor
Also-
palette is a real
soda.
thing though. Flavor palette is like if people are doing dipshit combinations and stuff like that. Like if you're bringing over, I don't know, people who don't know that you have to put like a cornflake or a Frito in a meatloaf, don't come over.
Right. If the food tastes bad, that means this person probably doesn't understand a lot about cooking, which means that they could also kill you with
There's
bacteria.
also that. You gotta
So
be
I'm like-
concerned.
I think just have a legitimate. I don't know, man. It's tough. That's tough. And this person's
Also-
you want to preserve their feelings, but
Well,
know.
okay. Also, I'm not like I like to be a healthy person, but sometimes I'll never forget. It was another one of our mutual friends was on a new keto. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is bullshit. I mean, it's all
Yeah,
bullshit.
it's
But
just- sure.
they were lettuce wraps, but they had mayonnaise and bacon in them, which that is all that's good, but not when it's just bound with lettuce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
you got a
need-
BLT, you just didn't put it on bread. That's
You
not
need-
that's not better for you.
you need the other
Right.
thing in there that like puts it all together. And
Right,
the
yeah.
and I don't like when people think they're more clever. Also, again, I'm just not impressed with. I just want to eat the food. Dan, like Palumbo, I've had your food; it's delicious, but I've devoured it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's great. I'm not asking for people to write think pieces about it. I
Right.
like it when people are like, I ate it, it was good, I'm done. I love that.
Yeah. That's the
I've-
dream.
Do you know when someone's trying to push like a band on you or something? You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like
Oh,
I really
yeah.
like The Cure. It's just not for some people. You know, it's like
Sure.
I learned decades ago that nobody ever wants to have the Tori Amos lecture. So that's what it is. If you keep bringing food
Well-
over, it's like, have you ever? But let me just play one more Tori Amos song for you. Be like, I don't like it.
No,
don't like it.
yeah. Cornflake
Okay.
Girl's gonna be the one that just
Well,
gets
That's-
you
what-
over the top.
Yeah.
What is the equivalent what band would 12 people in a room hear and spit it out? And it would make their eyes and ears bleed.
Yeah.
Like what? Because that's what's happening with
That's
this food.
very true.
How many
Everybody's
times
spitting
can
it
you
out.
fuck it up? You know, I just know my territory like breakfast, and I just don't have people unless we've
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
unless
yeah.
you're staying after
Right.
sloppy seconds. You know, that's just it. You know, if I'm by dinner, I'm usually too drunk to care what it tastes like.
You know, if the worst case scenario is that if this is someone you love and you care about, I'd say that if they're a good person,
Mhm.
if this is a nice, good person we're talking about,
Mhm.
then preserve their feelings, suck it up. Every so
Yeah.
often, 4 times a year?
Yeah,
taste
you just
something
gotta
you don't
eat a
like?
piece of shitty casserole and then keep it pushing. It's not that bad.
Now, if this
You just said-
person is an asshole, they got it coming. And
You
you
just
just
said-
have free reign to tell them their food sucks.
So our Thanksgiving was like pretty epic for a decade and a half. You know, like it had a magic window. And the like crown jewel of it was the food, like the centerpiece of it.
Sure.
And it was one generation down. So there was some like familial something to it. And yes, it was some adjacent cousin's wife. And yes, the bitch insisted on bringing a green bean casserole. And it was a wet towel. It was the grossest thing you've ever tried to, you know what I mean? Where it's just
One
like
of my least
Yeah,
favorite
yeah,
things.
yeah.
It's one of my
but
least
Campbell's
favorite things.
mushroom soup and green beans.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
all but you had to fucking like it down your guzzle. What's that bird? Pelican it down.
Hey guys, you keep talking about food. I'll be right back.
But it was every year, and it was like the bitch wouldn't improve on it, and you didn't know how to
Yeah.
address it. It was like just like put 1 year she put like frosted flakes on it when she baked it, and that was genius.
It's yeah, that's true. I think it's one of the worst dishes out there. I think green bean casserole is rather unsavable. If
Yeah.
you season it with salt and pepper, it turns out to be good. And I know this is like maybe elitist or whatever. I like plenty of shitty food. But green
Mhm.
bean casserole for me,
It's
it's
disgusting.
it's a recipe that's on the back of a fucking can of
You
soup that
don't
has
need it.
somehow endured for decades.
It's a okay. So like sag paneer can be like a really hearty, yummy thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But then like there
Yeah.
can be some like really bad sag. The one thing I feel about food sometimes in the way it obviously correlates with sex or some sort of way is that like I don't know if being a shitty cook makes you a shitty fuck. But if
People try to draw that correlation, and
I
I get why they say that.
is it like because the imagination it takes, or just
It's
because
it's the imagination. It's like not. It's like they're both zeroed into like hedonistic,
like if you
some
can
sort
only
of
make 3
attribute.
meals, yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like being experimental and like the freedom to do like a bunch of different things. If you have like a lot of hangups about food or you can't cook, it's like you're not a person of taste,
No
and therefore
anal.
you can't fuck.
Yeah,
Well, that's off the
yeah, yeah.
table.
That's gone.
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, anal actually is best on the table. I'll tell you this. One friend of mine.
It's nothing better than walking back into a conversation.
A friend of mine he was a funny old man I used to work with. He had a bunch of advice in life, but one of the best, he goes, never dance on a round table. Which
Love
makes
it.
sense. Never dance on top of a round table. He goes, but that's the only thing I'll tell you not to do on it.
All right, let's go ahead and do one more letter, and then we will wrap this up. We're going to get into a weird one.
We're not weird yet.
Well, we'll find out. Dear Abby, I'm an active 90-year-old grandmother who every year treats my family to a week's vacation at a beach house. We have a lovely time together. 2 years ago, my grown son, Robert, brought his girlfriend, Jennifer, and her teenage son, Jackson. After the trip, I was shocked to hear Jackson had killed the family kittens to see how it felt. I was horrified, but knowing he was in therapy, I eventually agreed to allow him to join us on the trip last year.
Oh, no.
We are now looking forward to our trip this summer. However, it was recently mentioned that Jackson has been hearing voices instructing him to kill a human. While I am sympathetic to his mental illness, I am extremely frightened for myself and for other family members who are coming. I do not want Jackson to come this year. I am concerned that if I approach the subject with Robert, he will be upset and I will lose contact with him. Because he lives out of states, our visits are limited as it is. Please help me because the trip is in about 4 weeks. Signed, Sleepless in Seaside.
Wow. I love
terrifying.
that. I love that she knows that his dad is going to be like, okay, so he heard a couple voices that said to kill everybody. He's a teenager. He's going through puberty.
What's this family? Okay, the psycho is related to who?
So the psycho is the son's girlfriend's son.
Yeah.
Okay. And then lady writing is the 95-year-old lady.
90-year-old grandma.
Because here's the thing: if she tells him he can't show up, he's gonna show up with a machete and kill them all anyway.
Sure,
that'll activate him.
100%. Jackson needs to be handled with kid gloves. If
you're here's the problem. It's like we had an aunt. She got a little too drunk, which is saying something for the family. It was like, how do we disinvite her when we're all getting just as shitty as she is?
Sure.
But not because the problem was she was psychotic. That was the problem. And the thing is, you just change houses. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You just gotta move.
Just gotta address. Well, yeah, that's the thing. But I also, what state is this from?
It just says Seaside, so who knows?
Well, that sounds like a murder city.
It does. It does feel like that's where Jessica Fletcher is from. That's
a Stephen King. Yeah, this is up in like Portland, Maine, sort of such.
Mm-hmm.
If she's 95,
already killed cats.
Sorry, so yeah, he's already killed kittens, plural, not one.
Kittens.
What did he do with them?
I don't know how he killed them, but honestly,
also we don't want to know.
Here's what I don't think he did. I don't think he got like Dr. Kevorkian drugs and gave them therapy to make sure the kittens were like okay mentally with what was going to happen to them. I think it was.
Oh my God!
If you're 95, right, and you've made it that far, don't you think you want to make it? She's only 90.
She's 90.
I think it'd be kind of spicy to bring the murderer.
Yeah, you're not all over this world.
Turn the family vacate
or something. Yeah.
Exactly, like turn it into a murder mystery. Be like, who's gonna go first?
Spice it up.
Why isn't he getting the help he needs? Like, why isn't this person? Why is the bitch writing us a letter and not the police?
Well, he does say he's in therapy, so they're trying. Danny, what were you saying?
I understand her fears because killing a kitten defenseless 90-year-old grandma. That's
Very
like the next. That's like the
Very
next step.
similar. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
next
yeah.
step, and then someone that
Same-
can defend themselves.
Same bone.
Similar
density, for
muscular
sure.
strength.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. 100%.
When
I
That's
I'm
would-
fucking
90,
scary.
I'm gonna go to the doctor, and instead of an X-ray, they're just gonna show up a picture of a small kitten. And be like, "You're about as defensible." I think that first of all, cousin's girlfriend sounds very weak. I don't know why she's entertaining this relationship to begin with. Like the roster of people invited on the family vacay needs to be sliced up a little bit. Like,
Yeah, skim it back a little bit. Also, this woman
point.
spelled Jennifer with a G.
G.
I don't like that.
Wait, Jennifer's the girlfriend?
Jennifer's the girlfriend. Now, here's what's wild about that to me.
Trash.
This woman,
This is in Gulfport, Seaside.
it's in quotation marks. So theoretically, that means the grandma picked an alias and still spelt it with a G, which means
Wow.
that her real name is like
It's Jennifer with a J.
yeah.
Let's just say it's
Exactly.
Jennifer.
But yeah, she doesn't know how this works. Exactly.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Uh,
learned. Okay, so I just went down a like COVID wormhole of now I can't remember her name, but she was like the leading atheist in the like 70s and 80s and 90s. She was she was on the Tonight Show with like Carson and stuff like that. Fascinating lady, old lady, real funny person, but was absolutely held hostage, kidnapped from Austin, Texas, and murdered, and then
Ooh.
sliced into a bunch of pieces with her like family, and then like put into. What are those big jugs you put oil in?
Yeah, like a 50-gallon drum.
Like a big old metal thing? Yeah,
Yeah.
they were like found in that sort of
Yes.
thing.
Jesus.
I know, but it was like it was a psycho who worked for the weird atheist group that she fired because he was a psycho that came back and murdered him. So it's like, keep your enemies closer, dude.
Yeah, you just got to befriend Jackson, I think, is your only choice here. Like,
She's got a good 10 years left before she dies, so she may as well just pretend to be nicest to him.
Yeah, that's what
you
I'm
know what.
thinking.
You know what spin-off show I want to see is you reading Dear Abby's and then Daniel sussing out what state they're from.
Yeah. I don't think he's wrong.
Jennifer
It's
with
that
a
Gulfport
G,
energy.
Seaside. That's fucking Tampa.
The poetic license of that G and Jennifer is a real
Yeah.
eye opener. It's a real identifier.
You guys, this has been a blast. Danny, you got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, my Instagram is @Palumbros, Palumbros. I sell pasta in Los Angeles. I write about food. I have a food podcast called The Macaroni Zone. It's a lot of fun, and that's it.
Definitely check that out. Daniel, what about you? What's going on?
Hi, my Instagram is @the_Daniel. All my stuff is @the_Daniel Webb. Also, I'm on TikTok. I post nothing, but follow me anyway. You can still watch my COVID special, Hose Parade, recorded live at the Rose Bowl. It's behind a paywall, and I sing. So if you hate it, I'll refund you.
I am @Chris
Isn't that nice?
Cubas on. That's nice of you. Also, don't. Fuck them. You already got their money. I am @Chris Cubas on all social media. If you like the show, leave us a little 5-star review. That really helps us. Tell your friends, that helps us as well. And we'll be back next week with more bad advice.